You're watching SNN, the Suncoast News Network, your local news leader.
Welcome back, I'm Marco Lamano. The UN's recent climate report didn't mince words. The world needs to act now and move quickly to prevent the worst effects of climate change. And it says we have all the solutions we need, we just need to get the politics out of the way. So to look at what must be done, what we are doing, Florida's involvement, and some hopeful news in the report, we talked to Bob Bunting, the CEO of the Climate Adaptation Center based in Sarasota. Hello there.
Hey, Marco, good to be with you again.
Great to see you again. I know it's been a few months. Let's delve right into it, this recent report. Let's talk a little bit about what it says and what it says our roadmap needs to be.
Well, what I can tell you is that, of course, cutting carbon emissions is a huge thing for us. We really, in order to keep to 1.5 degrees centigrade, or about 2 degrees Fahrenheit, we have to lower our carbon footprint, and we have to cut the carbon by 43% by 2030. So that is a lot, and that's a global number that we have to do. But we do have a lot of technology that's out there right now that we can use, and a lot of the solutions are in the mix, but we haven't really started implementing them, either locally, nationally, or globally.
Which is so weird to me that the solutions are there, but it's just a matter of putting those pieces into the puzzle to really fulfill the roadmap to prevent more than 1.5 degrees Celsius warming, which you were telling me we're probably beyond that point to prevent 1.5.
I really think so. I don't think the world is going to act in unison quick enough to do that. But I'm also a person that believes that knowledge is increasing so fast that things we have no idea about, we will know in 50 years and help to get to the climate solution. But in the meantime, we have to live with climate warming and adapt to it and mitigate it as much as we can.
Well, let's talk a little bit about one of the factors, which would be renewables. Now, we have seen a big drop in renewables, and we're going to put up the numbers as to how much they've all gone down over the past decade. And you know, I even knew 10 years ago, Bob, that they were starting to go down, but the fact that they've gone down almost half price for solar and electric car batteries and 55 for wind, that's some extraordinary drops, which we needed to see, and we are seeing them.
Well, this is the hopeful thing. I mean, the technology, as usual, gets better and better with time, and the more we get on the adaptation curve, in other words, the more and more people that use them, then the more and more economic it gets to make them. So we're starting that at adoption curve, but in new technologies, it takes 30 to 50 years to get from point A to point B, from what we're doing now to a new world of clean energy. And so it's a process, and in that process, there's going to be a lot of steps. And so we have to help make it happen, not just from the top down, but from the ground up. Here in Sarasota, we need to be doing the things that we can do, and also nationally, we need to be doing what we can do, and then we need to use our foreign policy to help other countries, encourage them to be better at what they're doing too.
And that's one of the things I've heard a lot. It's that the rich countries, we've been exhausting a lot of this into the atmosphere, more so than others, but the smaller countries are also feeling the burden of stuff they didn't contribute as much to. And the richer countries contributing to the poorer ones, I've seen in the report as well, is a strategy to mitigate and combat the worst rise.
Think of it as foreign aid for climate. I mean, that's what it really is. But we all breathe the same air and we live in the same atmosphere, so what we do to help them also helps us, and vice versa. But this is the reason why we need global cooperation. The United States is only 15% of the emissions now, although we have most of the historic emissions. But now we're just 15%. China is 30%, for example, right now. And they're not as interested in lowering their emissions yet because they're still growing their economy.
Right.
So here we have the technology and the know-how to innovate. We ought to be making products and services that we can sell all over the world and ignite the climate economy and also help our own.
Let's also bring up, I have some information on some of the progress we've made. That infrastructure law last year makes some big investments toward electric cars and charging stations. Basically wants to make a whole national network so that way you could drive coast to coast with an electric vehicle, zero emission. There are currently fewer than 47,000 nationwide electric charging stations. Even here in Sarasota, we've been building electric charging stations, and maybe some more, since Florida is set to receive nearly 200 million over the next 5 years for those kinds of stations. That is promising news for our electric car front. As you said, though, it will take a while to get to that level. So in the meantime, what can we do locally, and what can people write or speak to their county and city representatives to do here?
Well, of course, a lot of this is that the climate has been assumed to be stable, and it has been fairly stable up to the last 30 or 40 years. And now it's really warming quite fast. As a matter of fact, the rate of warming is double what it was in 1990. But we haven't changed the way we do business. We have not changed our laws, our ordinances. We haven't changed our building codes. And buildings around the world use about 30 to 40% of all the energy. So it's not just what we get out of the ground or a new source, but we need to conserve by making our buildings climate proof, if you will. And we have all those technologies now, but we don't have the will to do it. We have the products to do it, but there's no incentive to do it. So we need, as a community, to do the things that we can do here to lower our carbon footprint. And we really, even though we want electric cars and we want better technology, we already have to implement the stuff that we have, that we can lower our carbon footprint right here, right now. Your home is your backyard. These are the things you can do, and the government should be helping us do that with tax incentives, and instead of giving money away to people, give us incentives to do the right thing with that money.
So do stuff for the now and also prepare for the future. Combine steps to combat the worst. Bob, always great to have you here.
Thank you, Marco. It's a pleasure always.
And from climate to weather, we have your full Weather Authority forecast coming up.